And here with Reaction Radio talk show host Dana Loesch and Democratic strategist Christy Setzer is with us. All right, Dana.
Yes.
Reagan talked about no pale pastels, bold colored differences should define the Republican Party. Is this a Tea Party establishment battle in that sense?
Oh, I don't think so at all, Sean. I mean, not unless you include the majority of Americans who think that this is unworkable still to this day. I mean, the Wall Street Journal released a poll just last week showing that Obamacare is more unpopular now than it ever has been before. It's simply unworkable right now. It is not ready for prime time. So much so that hundreds of waivers had been issued. A portion of it has been delayed until conveniently after the election. That has nothing to do with Tea Party. It has everything to do with the facts of the matter, which is it's unworkable.
Then how do you explain this mysterious reluctance and resistance by some Republicans then?
Fear. They're absolutely terrified. They're terrified of media reports and media narratives. That's what every single one of them has said. I mean, instead of them willing to fight back on the narrative that Democrats and mainstream media like to push, that, well, this is just Republicans eager for a government shutdown, they should instead be asking, well, why is President Obama just absolutely bent on making sure that he's shoving this down the pipeline when, again, it's unworkable, we can't afford it, it's unworkable, it's not ready for prime time. I mean, we talk about compromises all the time, Sean. Can't we have a compromise right now until this is workable? We don't fund it.
Christy, the three biggest unions now, including James Hoffa Jr. and others, say it's not workable, and as Dana points out, the polls are against it. Why not at least delay it from your perspective?
Well, Sean, because this is not how grown-ups behave. The House has already voted 40 times to repeal part or all of Obamacare. They can vote on it 100 times. They can vote on it all day long. It's never going to go anywhere because they don't have the votes for it, and they don't seem to realize that this is not how grown-ups behave. If you don't like government, you don't have to serve in it. But don't, take a law that is very popular, that is the law of the land, and try to destroy government just because you don't like it.
If it's the law, then why are we not implementing it? I mean, after all, it is the law, is it not? We, in fact, are
implementing it. Yes,
no, we're not.
No,
it's delayed. Oh, so you're telling me that the business provision then, Christy, is going to be implemented fully on schedule as promised during the election? Because that's not what the president said. It's the law, so why is it being implemented?
There are plenty of sections of the law that are being implemented.
No, I'm not talking about plenty of sections, Christy. I'm talking about the whole law. Why isn't it being implemented?
Dana, there are plenty of states right now where you can look and see what the rates are going to be, and in many cases, particularly the blue states that have worked, there are plenty of states, particularly blue states, in which they are working with Obamacare where the rates are way down by as much as 50%.
Christy,
wow.
Christy, you mentioned government, but constitutionally, President doesn't spend a dime without the approval of Congress. All spending goes through Congress. So they have the authority to fund every other aspect of government, debt, obligations, Social Security, Medicare, our military, but defund Obamacare. They have the ability to do that. You understand that?
They can certainly try. They can certainly try to defund it, Sean. That's exactly the point. But what I'm saying is they seem to be really poor at math and not realizing that this is never going to be defunded by the president with whom this is his signature law.
So is the president then going to shut down the government if he doesn't get his way?
Well, I don't know. I guess we're going to have to see. But again, I think it would be a pretty poor strategy for Republicans who know that they're going to get the blame for it if, in fact, that does happen.
Dana, one thing that I know the Republicans voted symbolically 35 times. Why the resistance then to vote for the real thing?
Yeah, I mean, and this has happened before. I think it was, 2011 was one of the times that they voted for it. It passed through the House, and then it ended up being discarded in discussions with the president. I mean, the bottom line is this. I mean, it can be done in the Senate so long as Republicans are willing to stay on the same page. But while we're talking about Republicans fighting amongst themselves over Obamacare and whether or not to defund it, we really should also examine how Democrats aren't even on the same page that this is workable. Max Baucus, who helped author this law, called it a train wreck. Chuck Schumer said, you know what, Obamacare does increase premiums. Ron Wyden said the same thing. So a number of Democrats are working overtime to distance themselves from this, Sean, because they realize it's unworkable.
All right, guys, good to see you both. Thank you for a passionate discussion. By the way,